All right, guys.
I said, where do you want to go?
All right, so let's give people a chance to get in here. I'll be right back.
Why? You think you're going to do this forever?
Shocking. All right, nobody's in here, but we're gonna get started. Had to get my glasses because I can't see shit. Now keep in mind they freeze in between the play because the copyright
are on the move again. And the Packer receivers thus far in this ball game have shown great ability in catching balls that weren't necessarily thrown right in the pocket, right where they should be. But they've been reaching behind and in front of them, juggling the balls, but continuously coming up with the balls on all the difficult catches. Max McGee has come back in. Dale to the right. Hand off and straight ahead goes Jim Taylor, but Gary Mays does not allow him to get more than a yard or two as he gets down near the 25-yard line. Mays, two-time All-League in the American Football League, played the ball at SMU, 6 years in the league, 6'4", 252. Kansas City slow in getting up, 7-7 to score. I'm running out here in the first half. Five minutes and 41 seconds to go in this half. Dale is to the right, and McGee to the left, both split. Second down. Starr hands off to Elijah Pitts, who gets another yard or two, and that's all. Buck Buchanan.
Good defense. Of course, I know the outcome of many of these games early on because I knew, but mid-years of the Super Bowl, I have no
particularly their defense against the Green Bay running attack. They have looked very good against Green Bay's running. But Green Bay has been able to come back in these third down situations and pick up the first down by throwing the football. Of course, Bart Starr is famous for that. He's regarded as just about the best third down thrower in football. And as we mentioned before, they've been picking a lot on Willie Mitchell, the defensive right cornerback of Kansas City. So let's see if they do it again here. And this is another third down situation, as you said. McGee is to the left, Dallas to the right. Starr throws to Pitts, and Pitts goes out of bounds. He made the catch for the first down inside the 15 at the 14-yard line. And it's happened before when the ball was overthrown. E.J. Holland, the linebacker, had the assignment of covering Elijah Pitts. We'll find the
running back on linebacker, classic matchup to try to get a first down or even a touchdown because obviously the linebacker is just not going to be able to keep up to a running back as well as a corner or a safety would be able to do.
2 weeks ago, everyone said would not gamble. Gambled found Carroll Dale, and he went all the way to score, but it was called back a legal procedure. Dale is Thomas split to the right. From the 14, Jim Taylor starts around the left side. Steps back inside the 10-5.
Touchdown penalty.
On 14 yards out. And Taylor was hit by Hurston at the line of scrimmage, but simply broke the tackle. And a great example of this Green Bay power offense is 4 green jerseys went around the left end that time, one of them belonging to Jim Taylor, who had the football, but 3 blockers right there with him, 3 blockers right in front of him. And anytime you can turn the corner, get around the end with 3 blockers in front of you, you're going to go a long way. And, of course, Jim Taylor doesn't need any instructions on how to get into the goal line under situations such as that. Don Chandler in, and the ball was held by Starr. The kick is good, and Green Bay goes out in front, marching 73 yards in 14 plays. A reminder, as we've got about 4.5 minutes to go, and this is the first half, that our halftime guests will be Lance Allworth, the fine flanker, the San Diego Chargers, many times in our league selection, as well as Don Meredith, who took Dallas to the Eastern Division title in the National Football League, and within a whisker, George Ratterman, of having won the National Football League championship. That was one of the great games. Don Meredith and his Cowboys certainly looked great against Green Bay 2 weeks ago. Reminder also that NBC Radio here today for the Super Bowl, the AFL-NFL Championship, will journey down the coast a little bit and inland to Palm Desert, California, for the Bob Hope Desert Classic on NBC Radio February the 4th and 5th. Chandler will kick off 14-7 to score, 4.5 minutes to go in the first half. Green Bay scored first on a 37-yard touchdown pass to McGee from Starr. In the second quarter, Lenny Dawson took his team down the field, much of it on the running of Mike Garrett. Finally hit Curtis McClendon for a score from 7 yards out to top 7-7. And now on Jim Taylor's run, 14-yard run that kept the 73-yard drive, the Packers have gone right back in front. Chandler is ready to kick off. It is Cohn and Garrett, who are deep. Garrett at the 10, across the 15, balancing off his own men, using his hands to try to set up his blocks, and is finally knocked down as he hits out to the 26-yard line. Dave Haycock of Memphis State.
Keep in mind, the touchback would have been the 20-yard line instead of the 25, so that's actually a solid return. That's positive.
Taylor and Urbana split right. Burford split to the left. And now Garrett is in the... Well, here comes Dawson rolling out to the left, and he is in trouble. Can't get the ball away, knocked down inside the 15-yard line. Back there was Henry Jordan leading the way.
There's a sack right there. And the Green Bay defense was really good. Maybe not as good as their offense, but really good.
There before it was all over. And also in the play from the 26 back to the 18-yard line. Second down and about 18 to go. 14-7. The Packers have led and are leading. We're tied and are leading again. Packers heavily favored, have not made substitutions other than the fact that because of the injury to Boyd Dowler, they have been running in many different receivers. I formation, Taylor goes wide to the right. This time, again, they shift with McClendon and McGarrett. Garrett coming out of the eye. Burford is to the left. Dropping straight back is Dawson. Lets the ball go. Has his receiver at the 30-yard line. Still on his feet, and I believe Arbanis has been hit in the shoulder. It was Fred who caught the ball at the 30, but as he was hit and hit hard by Nitsky, you could almost see him buckle, and he is now walking off the field. He has had an injured shoulder. He had his shoulder separated in the American Football League Championship game up in Buffalo 2 weeks ago. Was somewhat of a doubtful starter for this game, and apparently the shoulder has not healed up fully because he undoubtedly re-injured the same shoulder on that play. That's a terrible feeling, too, to be injured in the middle of a play, not to be knocked down, to know that you have re-separated your shoulder and somebody is going to have to come hit you again. A pickup of 12. It is third down and 6 with the ball on the 35 of Kansas City. 14-7, Green Bay leading. Closing minutes of the first half. Dawson drops back on third down and has his man Taylor.
Dang, they're not showing the play. Come on, guys, get every...
To the 42-yard line. And Otis Taylor, who is a fine second-year flanker, 6'2", 211 from Prairie View, is showing many people what a good flanker he really is. He's coming to his own this year. First down at the 41. Otis has all the requisites of a great flanker back in that he has good moves, but tremendous speed, catches the ball well, and catches it in a crowd. That is, he doesn't hesitate to go up for the ball when there are a couple of defenders around him, and on top of that, likes to block, likes to come back on these end runs and help in the blocking. 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go. Dawson fakes the handoff. Back, looking, has Taylor again. Taylor on his feet and down to the 30-yard line.
Dang, that's a good throw. Look at this.
It could be charged against
Good
Green Bay
protection.
anyway, and so I'm sure they will take
And then he
away
gets thrilled because the
defensive
protection breaks
interference,
down.
and so the
But
ball
gave
and
him
Taylor has
time
again moved
to find
Kansas
his
City
man.
downfield. Make that Chris Burford. I beg your pardon. Number 88, not number 89. Tom Brown made the tackle. Burford intercepted, and George was actually held up at the 40-yard line, but made the catch at the 35 and got down to the 32. Well, he's another good competitor, as we said about Taylor a moment ago. Burford is also the kind of fellow that can catch the ball in the crowd. He's not afraid to go up for it with a lot of defenders all around him. Taylor wide right, Burford wide to the left on first down from a 32. Garrett has the handoff and is down to about the 30. And look out, Mike. You're only 5'9". Nitsky led the charge of green-shirted Packers that swarmed all over him after a gain of perhaps 2 yards. Now, time becomes very important. A 2-minute signal is being given on the field. 2 minutes and a half, and Kansas City, trying to get on the board one more time, has the ball at the 30. 14-7, the Packers lead in this, the American Football League National Football League Championship, the Super Bowl. And at this moment, many of the bands that will be performing here at halftime are walking down the track that surrounds the Los Angeles Coliseum football field and will be entertaining at halftime. And I'll remind you again that Lance Allworth and Don Merritt will be with George Radaman here in the booth. Kansas City now over the huddle, sending Taylor to the right. They've got the ball on the 31-yard line. They're trailing 14-7 in the final 2 minutes. Burford to the left. Dawson calling signals. With Clinton and Garrett in the backfield. And fumble and quickly picked up. Curtis McClinton
Lost the football there.
his own fumble as Henry Jordan hit him, but actually McClinton fumbled before he got hit. A loss on the play of perhaps
That
a yard.
handoff, really. It just wasn't a good exchange.
Second down and 11.
Oh, sorry,
And I
man.
believe that is the first fumble in the ball game, is it not? Which is somewhat unusual for a ball game with all of this importance attached to it, all of the tension that the ball players are bound to suffer. It's a bit surprising there have not been more fumbles thus far. A minute and 35. Dawson drops back. A little flip pass to Mike Garrett, who's stepping around at the 20. Gets through tacklers and inside the 25-yard line now down to the 23. And near the first down, and time becomes of the essence. And checking, Kansas City has a couple of timeouts left, and therefore can stop the clock if they wish. Mike Mercer is coming in, and on fourth down and the yard, they're going to stop the clock and go for the 3. Rather than try to go against that tough Green Bay defense and perhaps fail to get any points at all.
And Lenny Dawson promptly walked over to the referee and called for a timeout. I don't know whether Lenny's going to go over and discuss this with Hank Stram, his head coach, to decide whether they should go for the field goal. Perhaps Lenny has some other ideas here. Now it appears that Lenny is staying out in the middle of the field. I thought for a moment perhaps that he would go over and try to argue the point with Stram and say they should go for the first down, but apparently not, because Mercer is staying in the ball game, so undoubtedly they will try for the field goal here.
Fake field goals didn't really happen back then. Here is much as they do now. And they don't even happen now very often. So, I mean, it's just one of those things.
Which was far enough, but just slightly off to the left.
It's just not really done.
Opportunities other than what's shown on the scoreboard that is 14-7. A shirt-sleeved crowd here in Los Angeles, California. And I hope that wherever you are, the weather is good. And if not, I hope you're enjoying this broadcast. For those of you in your cars, of course, remember the game is important, but so is your driving. Keep your mind on what you're doing. The ball will be spotted by Dawson at the 31-yard line. Mike Mercer's 9 yards closer to what he was before. Little or no angle. Ball is snapped, put down. Mercer kicks, and this one is good.
Right, it's good. Now we got a 14-10 ball game.
Kansas City crossed within 4 points. Green Bay is out in front now by the score of 14-10. And George Radaman.
It's also before they had nets to catch
which is
football.
the better team, or as many try to do, which is the better league? I doubt that they could do it on the basis of this first half performance.
It's been a close ball game. I think Kansas City showed signs of some nervousness in the early stages of the ball game, a bit more perhaps than Green Bay, who seemed quite calm throughout. Possibly this will help Kansas City in the second half now that they have overcome their nervousness. But certainly it has been an even ball game. Kansas City has shown a lot of offense here today. Of course, they're known for their diversified attack. Green Bay has stuck to the bread and butter type of offensive game for which they're known. I think it's a question whether Kansas City can score enough on Green Bay to match the points that Green Bay is going to put on the scoreboard. Having the stronger defensive team, I think, on Green Bay, perhaps Kansas City would have the stronger offensive team so far.
Fletcher Smith will kick off to Downey Anderson and Herb Adderley, and this is a short kick hitting at the 22, picked up now by Adderley, and Adderley gets out to near the 25-yard line. They shot down there with about 50 seconds to go in the first half. Now, of course, 50 seconds to the likes of any good professional football team is plenty of time. Smokey Stover made the stop of Adderley at halftime. A reminder again, Lance Allworth of the San Diego Chargers, Don Meredith of the Dallas Cowboys. We'll be discussing this football game. And I'm sure, George, that Lance will be saying a lot of good things about the American Football League, and Don Meredith will be saying a lot of good things about the National Football League.
As you mentioned before, I don't think we've resolved much in this first half so far.
I'm sure we haven't. Pitts and Taylor still to setbacks. Paul Hornung has not made an appearance in this ball game. This is Elijah Pitts coming to the right side, and he gets a good block and comes out near the 30-yard line. Bill Curry leading the way. Bobby Bell, the left side linebacker, came up to make the stop, and Chuck Buchanan, the right tackle, also over to help out. The ball is across the 30, placed down on the 33. The second down and 3. Clock continues to run, showing 9 seconds to go, and this is the first half. And the Packers are not showing any tendency to hustle out of that huddle and get up to the line of scrimmage. The Chiefs have already started to walk off the field, and there is the gun. That's the end of the first half, and the score.
Yeah, they actually would use a gun to signify the end of the quarter. That would never fly today, but, you know, back then it wasn't a big deal. Nowadays, they won't even have a gun in the stadium even to do that, just in case, which is understandable given today's unfortunate situation.
37-yard pass play from Bart Starr to Max McGee, with McGee making a fine catch, ripping out of the grasp of Cheryl Hedrick and going all the way to score. In the second quarter, with 10 minutes and 41 seconds to go, with Otis Taylor setting things up with a fine reception and Mike Garrett's good running, taking him down to the 7. Curtis McClinton found himself loose in the right corner of the end zone, and down there, Lenny Dawson hit him for the 7-yard touchdown pass to make it 7-7. And then Bart Starr, after a pass to Carroll Dale, was called back on 3rd down and short yardage. Garrett is team on a 73-yard march, capped by a 14-yard run by Jim Taylor with 4 minutes and 35 seconds to go to make it 14-7. And then in the closing moments, Chris Burford also made a great catch and pulled the Chiefs to within field goal range of the Green Bay Packers, and Mike Mercer, unsuccessful in his first attempt, kicked the 31-yarder. That's how it ended, 14-10. Now for halftime, let's go to George Radigan.
Thank you, Jim. And seated on my right is one of the great quarterbacks in professional football these days, Don Meredith of the Dallas Cowboys, who certainly had his greatest year this year, didn't you, Don?
I think so, George. By far, it was the best year of the Dallas Cowboys, and it's quite often a reflection of the quarterback's ability or his success, or at least whatever acclaim he might receive is what his team does. We had a very good team effort in Dallas this year, and I'm very happy to be a part of it.
Don, you came so close to tying up that ball game against Green Bay 2 weeks ago down in Dallas. I read a statement by your coach, Tom Landry, that had you been able to score, get into the end zone, and tie that ball game up, you had the momentum going for you, and you very possibly would have had an advantage going into an overtime. How do you feel about that?
Well, it's very easy for us to say this. You can't imagine how I feel watching this ball game today, because we felt like we had an excellent opportunity to beat Green Bay, and we didn't do it. We respect Green Bay, and we think they're a very fine football team. In our game in Dallas, we did have some momentum. Our offense, I don't think, ever looked as good as it did against Green Bay. We executed probably as well as we possibly can, and we felt that if we could have got them into overtime, that we could have won. However, I must say this, I think it could have been decided on the flip of the coin. In other words, which ball club would receive. And I think this is the way that sudden death would be decided. And I think if we could have gotten the ball, I'm pretty sure we could have scored.
That's right. It was a great offensive display, so probably whoever got the ball first in the overtime would have had a tremendous advantage in that ball game. Don, I have heard so much. Of course, I've been broadcasting American Football League games and haven't had much opportunity in recent years to watch the NFL games, but I've heard so much about the fine offensive blocking of the Green Bay line, and yet in the early stages of this game, Kansas City was getting through to Bart Starr a few times. Does that happen frequently in the NFL, or did that surprise you a bit?
I was surprised to see that too. I am more or less like you, only on the other side of the fence. And reading statistics, I understand that Kansas City's strong point actually hasn't been trapping the passer this year. If I'm not mistaken, I believe they've trapped him like 29 times, whereas
Isn't too much, really.
well, not really, because Green Bay's brought more, and they very seldom blitz. I think they rank third in the National Football League with something like 49 traps, and this is a real plus for a team to have. So I was surprised to see this. I'm very impressed with Kansas City's entire ball club, both offensively and defensively. I've been trying to figure out their defense from a spectator standpoint today, and they use what we call an overship to the weak or to the strong side. We call it a ram and a Frisco.
Are you talking about the defensive line?
I'm talking about the defensive lineman. It's an odd man line, basically an odd man line. And
let's get through the halftime bullshit.
Handling this all year, and I was a little surprised to see that the success that they did have.
Surprising. A bit surprising in that the Chiefs show a slight.
So our first objective was to win the East, and there was a big build-up game, and there was a tremendous sellout there in Dallas, and Dallas almost without flaw.
Thank you for cutting through halftime. Like, wait.
The second half is about to begin. This is Jim Simpson with George Ratterman. And George, one half of football does not a football game make. But the statistics, despite the Packers' 14-10 lead, are somewhat surprising.
A bit surprising in that the Chiefs show a slight edge in most of the different categories of the statistics. In first downs, the Kansas City Chiefs have 11, the Green Bay Packers 9. Total yards gained, the Chiefs again are a bit ahead of the Packers, 181 yards for the Chiefs, 164 for the Packers. Breaking that down into rushing and passing, the Packers have a bit of an edge in the rushing yardage, 51-37. However, the Kansas City Chiefs are ahead in passing yardage, 144 yards for the Chiefs, 113 for the Packers. So the statistics aren't too far apart, but the Chiefs do have perhaps a slight edge in the number of passes thrown and completed. The Packers, Bart Starr has completed 8 out of 13 passes. Lenny Dawson for the Kansas City Chiefs has completed 11 out of 15. So both quarterbacks, both teams have shown an ability to complete passes against the other. And this could well be the tale of the second half here. Who is going to score the most points, because it is not a defensive battle.
Don Chandler kicks off. Gene Wilson comes up, watches it bounce at the 12, but the flag has gone down and a whistle has sounded. Again, back upfield. And they will kick it again. The ball did not go out of bounds. The Packers are coming back upfield. 14-10 the score. The Packers lead. 1 half left of this Super Bowl. Don Chandler will tee the ball up again at the 40-yard line. George, it comes under the question of your guess is as good as mine.
As to what happened on the last play, a very odd play. Green Bay kicked off. A lot of the Kansas City people didn't move, just stood there pointing at something, and I don't know what they were pointing at.
This was a very high and very short kick. Bert Cohn comes up to the 13. Straight upfield across the 20, now going to his right side, and is knocked down very quickly as he hits to the right side by number 27, Red Mack, a flanker back, former Notre Dame All-American. Now they change the footballs again, as we have told you before. The American Football League using its own football while on offense, and the same for the Packers, its football while on defense. They are slightly different. The Packers have a slightly fatter ball, as George said. The Spurford comes out wide left. Otis Taylor goes to the right in an I formation. Now shifting out of it, Garrett and McClinton are the setbacks. Packers have a lot of men bunched along the forward wall. Dawson rolling to his right. Now has running room across the 30, across the 35, and steps out of bounds.
It was a nice play. Kansas City was not a bad candidate for this game. It's just, you know, the NFL had more draft power, it had more pulling power. I think that really helped. And, the Packers get in a better spot in this game. But we'll see how it turns out. I actually for who won. Right? I don't forget, but I'm going to spoil it.
Marston's out on the 44.
Keep y'all
They trail
in
14-10. Opening moments of the second half of the Super Bowl. Taylor is to the left. Burford flanked to the left. Dawson calling signals. Again, a six-man line. And McClinton goes straight ahead and gets from his own 43 down
This
to
is also before tight ends would catch the ball much.
The left tackle from Cincinnati, number 77, makes the tackle. It'll be 2nd and 5.
That's why they called it a six-man line, because the tight end is basically our line.
Early in the game, Boyd Dollar, the flanker back, was injured in the first quarter for Green Bay and left, and we understand he's out for the game. Chuck Hurston, defensive right end, while Kansas City was injured, but he has come back. Taylor goes wide to the right. Now Urbanus is back in. He re-injured his shoulder, but is back in. Garrett is set in the slot to the right, but it is straight ahead. That is Garrett straight ahead. It was McClinton in the slot back.
Yeah, that didn't go so well.
And Ronald Arkwich made the tackle just a couple of yards out to midfield, and they are still about 4 yards from first down territory.
Got a kick out of Urbanus' remark after he was injured in the championship game up in Buffalo 2 weeks ago. He had a separated shoulder, and when asked whether he would play in the Super Bowl, he said, to show his determination, he said, I'll play even if Lamar Hunt, who is the owner of Kansas City, even if Lamar Hunt has to buy me a new shoulder. I don't know how much shoulders cost these days.
Taylor to the right, Burford to the left. Big play for Kansas City and Green Bay. 3rd down and the long forward. Dawson being rushed and throws. It is intercepted.
Oh, there's the first turnover.
Willie Wood. Only one man can get him at the 10 and drags him down at the 4-yard line. A big break. Mike Garrett finally came from behind to get Willie Wood at the 4-yard line. And the defensive prowess of Green Bay, never more evident there. Dawson was pressured, threw out to the left and hung the ball up, and Wood cut in front of the receiver and carried the ball from midfield down to the 4.
And one of the few times when we will see either one of these quarterbacks, Lenny Dawson or Bart Starr, do that. That is, throw the ball when they're under pressure, when the receiver is not definitely open. Something a quarterback shouldn't do. Lenny made a mistake, and I'm sure he knows it.
The officials forgot to change the football. Green Bay is back on offense, and so now the National Football League ball comes in play. Ball horning has not yet made an appearance. Elijah Pitts and Jim Taylor.
That was one of those really bad mistakes that looked almost bad-like, and there's a touchdown for Green Bay. That's going to hurt.
And Green Bay races on in front by the score of 20-10. That's their biggest leading margin. Cheryl Hedrick was taken out by one of those good offensive guards of Green Bay, Fuzzy Thurston, who led the way.
See, nowadays, that might be holding. I saw a little bit of jersey grabbing in there, but oh well, I mean, they're a little lenient with the holding calls, I think, back then. I'm not sure, though.
Stars holding, and the kick is good. There's time out on the field with the score now. Green Bay 21, Kansas City 10. 12 minutes and 33 seconds to go in the third quarter. Green Bay now leading 21-10. Gene Wilson and Bert Cohen are deep. And Don Chandler will kick off for the Packers. Ball is in the air. Cohen in the end zone. Will bring it out across the 5, straight upfield. The 10, the 15, lot of speed. Puts his head down and goes out near the 30-yard line. And Cohen broke through everyone. His own momentum carried him to the turf at the 30-yard line as he ducked and went under the arms of the Green Bay tacklers. And now, George Reitman, the question becomes, can Kansas City come back?
Well, the pressure is on them right now. They were down by 4 points at halftime, received the second half kickoff, appeared to be marching down the field so that they would have a good chance to go ahead in this ball game. And all of a sudden, Lenny Dawson did something that he very, very rarely does, and that is hung a pass out there and had it intercepted.
First down, Taylor right. Dawson moving, looking for Taylor, and underthrows him at the 39-yard line. Bert Cohen is in replacement for Mike Garrett as the other setback along with Curtis McClinton. It'll be 2nd and 10. And, of course, Lenny Dawson hung his last pass up there, and it was disastrous as Willie Wood intercepted and carried it to 4, and Pitts scored. This time, Len underthrew the ball. Ball is right at the 30-yard line, 2nd down 10. 21-10, Packers lead, 3rd quarter. Otis Taylor again goes wide right. Chris Burford comes to the left. I formation. McClinton the fullback, and now Cohen jumps to the left. Dawson dropping straight back, looking. Taylor at the 40-yard line, and he's brought down in a hurry. Fumbles and recovers his own fumble at the 41-yard line. And I want to tell you that Herb Adley, the left cornerback of Michigan State, and Otis Taylor right around
That kind of tackle, not always.
Taylor fumbled, but very quickly.
It's kind of frowned upon these days.
It's a first down at the 42-yard line, a gain of 12 on the play. And Otis Taylor has shown that he is quite a flanker in either leg. And a couple of great catches today and shows fine speed. Phil Armanis, to repeat, is in. And now, as they've used so many times, Otis Taylor comes out to the left, split, but Burford is flanked to the left. Taylor hands straight ahead to Curtis McClinton, who gets out near the 45-yard line before Lionel Aldridge makes the tackle. Jim Tyra, the left tackle, leading the way. Tyra, a 6-year veteran from Ohio State, 6'6" and 292. Ball is put down on the 45-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 6, a gain of 4 for McClinton. And those here in the Los Angeles Coliseum, and I'm sure wherever you're listening, are watching and waiting to see if the Kansas City Chiefs can maintain their poise. They trail by 11. Burford to the left, Taylor flanked to the right. The Chiefs trying to come back after that interception by Wood. Dawson fakes the handoff and throws out, has his man, and down he goes at the 50-yard line. Willie Wood made the stop. And getting up is Bert Cohen, who's in replacement, as we said, for Mike Garrett, and he takes the ball to the 50-yard line. Cohen is big himself, 6'4", 220.
And that's a helpful thing for a passer who's throwing to a receiver to have a man who stands that tall, 6'4", because he just makes that bigger a target to throw to. Both sides have shown remarkable ability to hang on to the football, to catch the balls they're juggling even after they're hit. Cohen was juggling that ball when he was hit, but managed to hold on to it.
3rd down 1. Cohen is trying to sweep and is thrown. Trying to come to his left side on 3rd and short yardage. The Chiefs tried to go wide, and Bert Cohen could not turn the corner. Coming up was Bob Jeter, along with the linebackers, Ray Nitschke and Leroy Caffey. And that means it's 4th down. Instead of a first down, the Chiefs are forced into a punting situation. Gerald Wilson is coming on. Willie Wood and Donnie Anderson go deep for the Green Bay Packers. 21-10, Green Bay leads, 3rd quarter. With about 9.5 minutes to go. Wilson is standing on his own 30-yard line. Score at halftime was 14-10 Green Bay, but the Packers quickly added another on the interception of Wood and a 4-yard run by Pitts. Wilson gets a high kick away, bounds down at the 20 and hops back toward Kansas City territory. Near the 25-yard line, it is down there. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Packers. Ball was down by Al Reynolds, an offensive guard. Packers offensive unit comes back on the field. And for the moment, the Packers have things their own way. They've got the football. They've got the lead. 3rd quarter. The crowd here rather quiet at the moment, and it is a large crowd at the Coliseum. Carroll Dale comes out wide to the right. Wardella, to repeat, is not playing. And again, Pitts.
Can they get a defensive stop, make this more reasonable?
This is Elijah Pitts cutting across his own right side and gets out across the 35-yard line, still on his feet to the 37. Buddy Williamson came over to make this tackle as Pitts broke a couple of tackles himself. Donnie Robinson also helped out. And now, Cheryl Hedrick, the middle linebacker of Kansas City, limps off, holding his right ankle. And Smokey Stover of Northeast Louisiana, 6 feet tall, 227, has come in at the all-important middle linebacker spot. It's a first down at the 37. Star dropping straight back. Looking, has time, and now is smothered under at the 29-yard line.
There you go, Kansas City. Right there. Great sack.
And when he raised
Great
the arm
play.
back again, the pocket closed, and down he went. E.J. Holland.
They really, this was a great offensive
With the right
line
tackle,
for the
Buck
Packers.
Buchanan made the
And
tackle.
let's be real, they definitely
Second
got
down and
to
17.
Star a fair share of
And as
time.
Don Meredith, the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, mentioned at halftime, it's a bit surprising, particularly to National Football League fans who have watched the Packers quite a bit and know they have great blockers. It's a bit surprising to see this tremendous pressure that the Kansas City defensive linemen have been able to put on Bart Starr this afternoon.
Max McGee goes out to the left. Boyd Dollar comes to the right. Mar Fleming, the tight end, is split about 5 yards on the right side. Pitts runs out and jumps in the slot to the left. Taylor, the lone setback. Starr dropping straight back on second down, long yardage. Looking for his man, and out of bounds he goes. He's got him. Willie Mitchell ran Max McGee out of bounds after McGee made the tackle. Not enough for the first down. Inside the 45 will bring up a big third down and a long 2 yards. As George Regiman put, they have been operating on Willie Mitchell, the right cornerback, this afternoon, a third-year veteran from Tennessee State. Now time is called on the field in this 21-10 ball game. Cheryl Hedrick has come back in. Stover has gone out. There's time out on the field with the score. Green Bay 21, Kansas City 10. Back at the Coliseum in Los Angeles, the Packers have the ball on their own 44-yard line. It is third down and 2. And this is Jim Simpson with George Reitman. In this 21-10 ball game, the Packers are leading. The Chiefs, of course, hoping to stop them on this particular play in order to have them be forced to kick it away. Carroll Dale comes wide to the right. McGee is on the left side. Starr calling signals. Starr hands to Taylor. Taylor hit from behind and gets to the 45 and dives ahead and may or may not have gotten that first down. It will be close. At about the 46-yard line,
that play.
Hedrick, the man who was injured with the right ankle, came back in and is the man who made the tackle there.
It's interesting to note the respect both of these quarterbacks have for the defensive lines against whom they're playing, because both of them now, having third down and short yardage situations, have elected to go wide. Dawson did not make it a moment ago with Kansas City. They were stopped short of the first down, and it would appear that Green Bay has been stopped short of the first down here. But both of them elected to go wide instead of going straight ahead into the defensive line trying to pick up the first down.
Now, rather than the possibility, of course, George, of giving up good field position, Vince Lombardi sends out his kicking unit. Don Chandler. Emmett Thomas goes deep. Mike Garrett, who has seen little action as a running back here in the second half, is back in and is deep. Chandler will kick from his own 37. No driving kick. Garrett at the 19, 20, daylight. And he is hit down by Leroy Cappy as he crosses the 25 to the 27-yard line. It'll be first and 10 there for the Kansas City Chiefs trailing in the ball game. We pause 10 seconds for station identification.
WGY Schenectady, a General Electric Broadcasting Company station.
7 minutes and 5 seconds to go in the third quarter. Packers leading 21-10. Lenny Dawson rolling out to his left, looking downfield, throwing downfield, and overthrows his man, Chris Burford, at the 42.
That was a bit of a dangerous throw. That defender deep could have
Dawson
really
actually had time, and Burford was a couple of steps in front of the defender, Bob Jeter, but the ball was overthrown.
Jim, it's interesting to note sometimes how teams will change their tactics in the second half of a football game. On the first half today, Green Bay did not blitz at all. That is, they did not send their linebackers in, shoot the gap, as they say, in against the passer, Lenny Dawson, when he was passing. But already here in the second half, 3 times now, they have blitzed their linebackers, have sent them in. So a definite change in tactics by the Green Bay Packers defensively here in the second half.
Second down 10. Garrett jumps in the slot to the right. It is Burford on the left, Otis Taylor on the right. Dawson picks the handoff, and the linebackers are blitzing again, this time from the right side. Leroy Cappy down at the 15-yard line, and there's a flag back at the 23.
Might be a hold there by 77. They got the Dawson.
They're calling back apparently the Green Bay defensive captain, and so it could be against the Chiefs. 21-10, Green Bay leading. Official, Norm Schachter, comes over and says holding is charged against Kansas City. It has been refused as the ball is taken back inside the 15 and placed down on the 14.
I saw the holding there, yeah. Didn't really matter too much.
Which make that third down because they lost it down there. Third down and 23.
And here is a tough call for Lenny Dawson. Third down and 23, trailing by 10 points in the ball game. He has to go for the first down, has to try to do something here. Green Bay can afford to gamble. They're ahead. They have Kansas City backed up. A real tough play to call.
Burford and Taylor both to left. Dawson rolls to the left, in a pocket, dropped down at the 3-yard line. Tremendous pressure.
Wow.
And by Henry Jordan,
That's the problem.
Ron Kostelnik. The 3 of them were there. And now, the punting of Gerald Wilson will get the Chiefs partially out of the hole, but will certainly give the Green Bay Packers wonderful field position because Wilson will be nearly at the end of his own end zone when he kicks the ball. The line of scrimmage is the 27. The ball is on the 2. On his 4th down and 35, and Wilson almost has his back foot out of that end zone. Willie Wood and Donnie Anderson are deep. Kick. It is taken by Donnie Anderson. Anderson, flags go down as he's hit. More flags go down.
Flags everywhere. There's laundry all over the field.
Anderson was hit by Aaron Brown, the number 1 draft choice, and from Minnesota, along with E.J. Hallett. But there are a couple of flags down. And apparently, as the Packers fade back downfield of their own 35, this will be against the Packers. And George Redeman, this is a good break for the Kansas City Chiefs, who trail by the score of 21-10.
A break, and again, something that you rarely see, a clipping penalty against the Green Bay Packers when they're returning a punt. They are very careful about such things, and Vince Lombardi, their coach, has told them if there's ever any doubt whether you're in front of the man or behind him or to the side, don't throw the block, because if there's anything we don't want, it's one of those 15-yard penalties. But one of the Packers has been caught here in clipping, so they've been penalized 15 yards back to their 44-yard line.
Right here.
From the 44, first and 10, 6 minutes, 18 seconds to go, third quarter. Elijah Pete starts out to the left and is knocked down. I'm telling you, that time, the Green Bay defensive guards pulling were simply shoved aside. And the Kansas City defense, led by Chuck Hurston and Andy Rice, came in to knock him down for a loss from the 44 back to the 42. Second and 12.
And a surprising play, actually, Jim, because as you mentioned, it looked as if Elijah Pitts had a lot of interference out in front of him, a couple of guards in front of him, and all of a sudden they disappeared or weren't effective, and Pitts went down. Very surprising.
Arrowdale comes wide to the right. Fleming is split to the right. McGee is on the left side. Pitts and Taylor again the setbacks. Darkstar dropping straight back with time across the center. And has Max McGee out in Kansas City territory, not the first down, but very close to it at the 48-yard line. Johnny Robinson made the stop, and now we come up to another big third down play. The last time, Kansas City was able to hold Green Bay. Green Bay punted. Kansas City lost 25 yards in the series of downs and had to kick from its own end zone. 5 minutes, 10 seconds to go, third quarter. 21-10, the Packers lead. 14-10 at halftime. Willie Wood's interception broke things open a little bit as the second half began. Carroll Dale to the right, McGee to the left. Jim Taylor has got the first down across the 45, going off his own left side of the line. Chuck Hurston made the tackle as Bob Skoronski and Fred Thurston opened up some running room for him, and the ball was put down on the 43. First and 10 for the Packers, and they're on the move again. In this, the first Super Bowl, the AFL-NFL Championship from the Los Angeles Coliseum. Shadows beginning to creep in from the left side of the Coliseum now. Lots of time left as McGee goes to the left on first down. Dale comes to the right. Bart Starr dropping way back, looking, throwing, and the receiver falls down. Carroll Dale fell down at the 27-yard line, and Freddie Williamson backed off of Dale as though he had a hook poker in his hands. He didn't want any defensive interference play called there. There wasn't one.
Williamson had actually given Dale a good jolt, but it was before the ball was in the air, and of course Freddie wanted to get away from him in a hurry, having knocked him down so he would not be called for pass interference. But of course you can bump these receivers coming downfield as long as the ball is not yet in the air, and that was the situation there. Williamson belting Dale when it appeared that Dale might be going by him, knocking him down, but this was before the ball was in the air, so no pass interference was called.
Max McGee this time runs out to the right, and Carroll Dale drops off to the left. It is second down, 10 from the 43. Starr dropping straight back again. He has Taylor, a little swing down at the 45, 44.
Dang, they're not showing every play. That's frustrating.
Down again on the 44. That's a case of Bobby Bell coming up to help out Jerry Mays. Mays was the first man to make contact, and then Bobby Bell, the left side linebacker, came up. And the ball is put down now, back on the 44-yard line. And so it's a loss on the play. It's third down, 11. 3 minutes, 45 seconds to go in the third quarter. And there's timeout on the field with the score, Green Bay 21, Kansas City 10. Green Bay has the ball on the 44-yard line of the Kansas City Chiefs. It is third down and 11. Big down for the Packers as well as the Chiefs, as the Chiefs trail by 11 points, 21-10.
And as the shadows begin to come over the Coliseum, they have turned the lights on here. They're not needed at the present time, but possibly will be later on in the fourth quarter. But they've already turned the lights on here in the Coliseum.
On third and 11, Carroll Dale goes wide to the left. Woody Mitchell is the man on him. Bart Starr dropping straight back, looking, as his man Max McGee, in between three people at the 33-yard line.
That was a dangerous throw right there.
McGee made the catch, and it's a first down at the 28. Bobby Bell, Freddie Williamson, all there, along with Bobby Hunt. The defenders, the three of them, seemed to lay off McGee until he had the ball, and then they closed the vise, but it was too late. Boyd Dowler went out in the game early, has not been back, will not be back, and McGee has been called on for yeoman duty. There is Jim Taylor trying to set up his line, and Taylor, as has been found out today, isn't going anywhere. Now Buck Buchanan throws him down. Taylor says nothing. The official pushes off Buck Buchanan. No penalty is called as yet, and none will be.
Yeah, that's a foul. You can't do
The
that.
line of the Kansas City Chiefs has been tremendous today, as has the defensive line of the Green Bay Packers.
You definitely can't do that.
The foul for the Kansas City Chiefs has been in the defensive secondary. And of course, the big mistake of Lenny Dawson when he hung the pass up and Willie Wood intercepted. Second down and 8 from the 26.
All right, guys, my food is here, so give me 1 sec to go get it. Oh, shoot, 07 Coasters popped in. My bad. Didn't see that. All right, guys. Sorry about that. Some coasters back. Why am I doing this? Fit. Oh, why am I typing? So why am I doing this? Basically, it's because I love football. I figure why not? Super Bowl season's here. I just figure why not? It sounds like a fun thing to do. I haven't really watched all the Super Bowls. It seems like a great opportunity. Tell Papa I said hi. Yep, I definitely will. Sorry, let me get some food in me and then let's continue, of course. Probably would have helped if I grabbed something to drink. Oh, yeah, the tax document. Brendan says hi. Kid from Cedar Point.
Yeah. I was trying to place his name.
Come on, man. You're live. Ouch. No, he has memory problems now, guys. Not sure. It's like 200 hours of football, bro. Yeah, there is that. There is that. It'll be a while. Not now. Like, no, I'm not gonna do it all at once, but this is gonna be a longer one. All right, let me get something to drink. I just watched the highlights. I mean, yeah, but I kind of want to see how each game went. You know what I mean? Like penalties that were ridiculous, stuff like that. And of course, maybe there'll be some crazy things that happen too. So,
Harold Dale to the left, Max McGee to the right. Star with the same two setbacks. Gives it to
it'll be
Taylor.
fun.
Taylor stuttering at the line.
Why are they
Down
not?
it goes.
Oh, I hate that they don't always show every play. I know it's for copyright reasons,
Down to
but
the
still.
21-yard line. Chuck Hurston also another tackle.
They'll help me with copyright too.
I would imagine, George Rodman, that Jim Taylor went back to the huddle after that last little altercation with Buchanan and said, "Give me the ball again."
I don't know whether it was even necessary for him to say that. Bart Starr might have just realized that on his own that Jim Taylor is very angry now, and this is a good time to go follow football and see what he'll do with it.
Third down,
Yeah, that's
3.
true.
They're in perfect position.
I mean, it would be in
Let's
highlights,
see
but
what
why
Sam
not?
does on
It's
third
basically the
down
bottom
and
line.
3. The flanker is there.
Why are they
As
throwing
Taylor
on
goes
head?
wide to the left. Taylor gets a good block, breaks 2 tackles, and has the first down across the 15.
Yeah, the Packers were pretty dominant in this game. I'm not gonna lie.
The individual
So far.
effort of Jim Taylor brought off that first down. Bobby Bell made the stop, but the ball is placed down on the 13. The Packers leading by 11, now threatening to break it wide open here in the third quarter. With a little bit less than 2 minutes to go.
Oh, this is Super Bowl
In
one.
the huddle with McGee to the left. Dale to the right.
Yeah,
First down from the
I didn't finish
13.
the first one the
Starr
first time
takes the
because I did it at like 2 in the
handoff.
morning.
Looks, throws in the end zone. Great catch.
There's a touchdown for the Packers. Great route running considering the time. And juggled and what is he, Travis Kelce? Come on, man.
Stepping back and hitting McGee in the end zone. To find
Those who watch the, I think it was the divisional round or the wild card round. I forget which. Travis Kelce, or no, it was George Kittle. George Kittle in the divisional, I believe. Maybe juggling that. Same about the 49ers. I mean, if they had had a quarterback, they would have had.
And kicks the extra point.
So, I mean,
Green Bay is far out in front. With less than a minute to go in the third quarter.
if you run out of quarterbacks, bad things tend to happen.
Kansas City offense will now
And they did.
have to cover the 4 if
They
the
most
Chiefs are to
definitely
get back
did.
into this ballgame. Another reminder about further NBC radio sports coverage. And that is the Bob Hope Desert Classic coming up on NBC Radio February the 4th and 5th. At the same time, I will remind you that for all the sports coverage every weekend, tune in to NBC's Monitor.
I ain't going to cap.
In the first quarter of this ball game, Max McGee, who just caught that touchdown pass, caught a 37-yarder from Bart Starr. And the
I ain't gonna
Packers
cap.
went 7-0.
Chinese food
The
hits
Chiefs
different.
tied it on a 7-yard pass from Dawson to McClendon in the second quarter, and then Jim Taylor broke 14 yards for a score to make it 14-7, Green Bay. At the end of the half, just 58 seconds to go, Mike Mercer kicked a 31-yard field goal, and it ended 14-10. But then Willie Wood's interception returned to the fore in the third quarter as the second half began. Pitt scoring on the first play from 4 yards out made it 21-10. You just heard this march by the Packers, capped by a 13-yard pass to Max McGee to make it 28-10. Now, Don Chandler will kick off again. Ian Wilson and Bert Cohen are deep. Cohen watches it hit at the 12, takes it at the 2. Comes back up the left side to the 10, the 15, and down he goes. As he gets across the 15,
I think he fell down there.
up to about the 17. Knocked down there by Doug Hart and Jim Weatherites. Now Len Dawson, trotting in, will have to put the Chiefs on the scoreboard. The American Football League trying to prove to the National Football League and its fans that it has quite a football team and has quite a league. And the National Football League, Green Bay Packers trying to prove that they are the better league. It'll merge in a couple of years anyway. Taylor is to the right on first down from the 18. Hand off and straight ahead.
Yeah, that didn't go well.
Henry Jordan made the tackle, and perhaps there's a yard gain on the play. It'll be second down and 9.
And the pressure continues to mount now on Lenny Dawson, who is calling the signals on offense for the Kansas City Chiefs, because he is definitely in a position now where he has to play catch-up football. This means he has to eliminate the more conservative part of his offense, you might say, and Green Bay knows this, so he is handicapped a bit at this point.
Well, George, that's the end of the third quarter. The score now, Green Bay 28, Kansas City 10. 18 points separate the Green Bay Packers and the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs have the ball. Second down 9.
See if they actually
Ball on their own 19-yard line. Make that the 18-yard line. As Otis Taylor hustles out to the right, Chris Griffith goes to the left. McClendon and Garrett the setbacks.
Here we go.
Carolyn, the tight end, is also split to the right. Dawson dropping straight back and upfield, and it's almost intercepted. The receiver was Curtis McClendon, and it was almost intercepted by Willie Wood. And if Willie had got
Willie Wood is a legendary safety.
a second touchdown.
If I recall, I think that's Willie Wood was one of the better
Willie
safeties.
Wood of USC, he wrote to the Packers and asked
Defensive
for
backs
a
in general, because they did kind of
Lombardi said, I'd like to take a look at him. He's down to
more
7th
fluid
year and one of the
back
great
then. So
safeties of the National Football League.
Shows you should always answer your mail.
3rd and 9 for the Chiefs, and they've got to pull off this first down and get the ball up again. Dawson rolling to the right, looking, faking a pass. Now throwing, and it is almost intercepted again at the 30-yard line. Intended there for
Dawson's
Chris
getting
Griffith,
reckless
but the
because
defending
he
was
has
no
to.
It is incomplete, and 4th down, and the Chiefs will have to kick the ball away again. And Lenny Dawson, who had a good first half, percentage-wise, is having his troubles here in the second half.
And a very smart defensive play by Herb Adderley then, who was not drawn up by Lenny Dawson's fake of a run. Lenny was chased around, held the ball up as if to pass, then started out like he was going to run. But Adderley stayed right with his man, wouldn't come up on Dawson, so he was there to knock the ball down after it was thrown.
Gerald Wilson is standing on his own 2. Willie Wood and Donnie Anderson are deep. Low driving kick. Anderson fades back to his 42, runs to his left, gets to the 45, and runs into a couple of people led by Bobby Claude, number 14.
I've noticed that the punts obviously haven't been as good.
But it'll be a
There's
first
still
down
a
for
big
the Green Bay
back
Packers
then, that
to
wasn't
continue to control the ball and controlling the game at the point, 28-10. Still in the 4th quarter. Ball is placed down right on the 46-yard line of Green Bay.
The lack of height on Gerald Wilson's punts is a bit surprising. Almost all pro or college teams will try to get their kicker to kick the ball high into the air so that the men going down under the punt have time to get down and defend. But Gerald Wilson has really been booming out some line drives.
Packers now hoping to exert pressure. Send Carroll Dale to the right. Starr hands off to Jim Taylor. Makes a fine move at the line of scrimmage, and as a result, picks up about 4 yards out to midfield before Buck Buchanan wrestles him down. Taylor started to come to the outside, saw that blocked, and moving off his left foot, cut back inside and picked up 4 yards to the 50. It'll be second down and 6. 21-10 to score. Green Bay leading, 14 minutes to go in the ball game. 14-10 was the halftime score. Carroll trotting out again to the right. Max McGee, who has scored on 2 touchdown passes of 13 and 37 yards, is to the left. Paul Hornung has not played. Starr faking the handoff, going deep to Max McGee, who's trying to beat Mitchell, and Mitchell makes the interception.
Oh, it's big. That's something you don't see a lot from Bart Starr either. Glenn Dawson and Bart Starr were some of the best in the business with time throwing interceptions this year. There you go.
Fine play by Mitchell. The ball is on the 11-yard line of Kansas City. Now with nearly 15 minutes of football left, the Kansas City Chiefs trot back on the field. 28-10, the Packers lead. And this, the first Super Bowl. Out to the right comes Otis Taylor. Burford goes to the left. And this National Football League town, Los Angeles, is yelling for the Chiefs to go. Dawson back to pass. Lots of time. Luke Swan has.
That's a great catch in any era, but you know those diving catches, you didn't see them as much back then. The receivers oftentimes weren't good, some of the modern day receivers, but in that case, definitely pulled it off.
Just a great individual effort.
Dawson
You can also see on that
back
big play the great pass defensive work done by the Green Bay defensive unit as a whole, because Lenny Dawson must have looked at 3 other receivers before he finally threw to McClinton, and none of them were open.
Taylor on a quick pitch to Taylor, tried to step around his man and cannot get away, and finally falls forward, out across the 40 to the 43-yard line. A pickup of about 5 on the play. Dawson simply straightened up and threw to Taylor. National Football League fans have seen that work many times to Bobby Mitchell. And simply try to get the ball out there one-on-one and hope that Mitchell will step around the defender. Here they were hoping that Taylor could step around Herb Adderley. After he got him on an ankle, and down he went. Second down and a long 5 as Taylor's to the right, Burford to the left. Dawson looking to Burford, has him at the 50, down to the 48-yard line.
Good play there. Oh, big hit.
That's enough for the first down.
Leg right there. Big hit.
At the 46.
Dawson now going to his short passes. Of course, Green Bay with this big lead will tend to lay back a bit, figuring we'll give them the short one. We just don't want to be hurt with the long bomb, as they say. Dawson, realizing this, is trying to pick Green Bay apart at this point by just concentrating on hitting those short ones in front of the Green Bay defenders who are laying back a bit farther.
Taylor to the right. Dawson rolling to the right, looking for Taylor. He's trying to beat his man. He's in back of Adderley, but can't quite reach it in the end zone.
Oh, that was a potential for a great play.
Illegal procedure or motion is charged against Kansas City. Flag is down, and I believe it was Otis Taylor who started offsides and then came back on. And so that will cost them 5 yards if the Packers choose to take it.
Otis Taylor, we notice, is instead of going back to the huddle, just walking over, running over now toward the Kansas City bench. Frequently when a pass receiver has gone down the field that far, he had to run about 60 yards on that play. He will just automatically take himself out of the ball game for a play, allowing a fresh man to come back in.
Frank Pitts has gone in after the long run by Otis Taylor, and will replace him as flanker. Pitts, a second-year man from Southern College, comes from Atlanta, Georgia, 6'2", 190, lot of speed. The illegal procedure charge against Kansas City has been accepted, and it moves the ball back to the 49 of Kansas City, where it is first down and 15. 11 minutes, 26 seconds to go, 28-10 to score. Pitts comes wide right. Dawson dropping straight back. under pressure, and down with him is Willie Davis, rolling him down on the other side of the 40-yard line at the 38. Line of scrimmage, remember, was the 49.
That pressure on Dawson is what made the difference in this whole game so far. I mean,
Attack that onto
they're
the 15
getting
that they
pressure.
need, and it'll be second down and 26. The Packers leading 28-10, and this the Super Bowl. Shadows, as we said, began to creep across the Coliseum floor here in Los Angeles, but the temperature's been in the 70s. A beautiful day to play a football game. Aldous Taylor back in, comes wide to the right. Perfect goes to the left. Rolling to the right is Dawson looking for Taylor, and it is knocked down at the last minute by Herb Adderley. A fine defensive play, getting one hand in front of Taylor and knocking the ball down and out of bounds. It would not have been enough for the first down, and the ball was at the 46. They've got to go to
Good
the
play,
36, remember, for the first down. Third down and 26 yards.
That's the problem with backing up that Len Dawson did.
Lenny
He
Dawson
kept
trying
running
to
back.
throw a down and out pattern to Taylor about 15 yards downfield. And if anything, that's the difference between these two ball clips so far, because Art Starr has been able to hit those down and out patterns or down and in patterns 10, 15 yards downfield with relative ease all afternoon, whereas Dawson has not been able to, not because of his lack of ability, but because of the fine Green Bay defense.
A little swing pass just knocked down at the last minute by Bob Brown. They had sent Mike Garrett just over the line of scrimmage. Dawson went back and tried to loop it to him. Brown got one hand on it and knocked it down at the line of scrimmage. As the Chiefs tried to get Garrett with a little running room, hoping to pick up the 26 yards that they need. They did not. It's fourth down from their own 39-yard line. Packers leading by the score of 28-10. Gerald Wilson is back. Willie Wood and Donnie Anderson go deep, standing inside their own 25 to take Wilson's spot, which is in the air. This one is high. Beautiful. Anderson lets it hit on the 3, and it goes into the end zone. First and 10 for the Packers at the 20-yard line. The Packers with the ball and with the 28-10 lead. Kansas City's defensive unit comes on the field, and Green Bay's offensive unit, and Elijah Pitts again goes out. And we make note of the fact, because there was a great deal said that perhaps Paul Hornung would play. He has not played yet. There's time out on the field with the score. Green Bay 28, Kansas City 10. At the Coliseum in Los Angeles, this is Jim Simpson along with George Radaman. And of course, once this game is over, we'll be going to the victor's dressing room. And as of this moment, it looks as though George Radaman, you'll have to head to the Packers dressing room, because Green Bay leads at the moment.
Yeah,
28-10.
it's obvious.
10 minutes, 45 seconds to go. The Packers with the ball on their own 20, first and 10. Art Starr still in, calling signals, dropping straight back. As time looks for his receivers, as Carroll Dale at the 44-yard
That is
line,
a
and he has
big
the ball.
play.
It's
That's a
out of bounds
dagger
there.
right there if you think about it, because
Wrestled out of bounds
you
by
can't
Willie
give
Mitchell.
up those plays.
At that time, more than he has had in many of his past plays, Bart Starr had all day, as they say, a rocking chair from which to throw.
And we note that just like 2 weeks ago down in Dallas, when he was ahead in the fourth quarter, ahead of the Dallas Cowboys by a couple of touchdowns, Art Starr is not inclined to play conservative football and try to run out the clock. He wants to keep his team moving, wants to keep scoring.
Carroll Dale goes wide right. Max McGee with 2 touchdowns to his credit is split left. First down from the 44. Starr straight back. Looking to throw, and McGee is all by himself. Mitchell is climbing his back and rushes him down at the 17-yard line. The ball is taken away by Freddie Williamson. But the officials say, no, sir, McGee has it, and it's a first down for the Packers at the 17. Talk about ride on cowboy. The ball is now put back on the 18. Willie Mitchell climbed McGee's back and rode him about 10 yards before he finally went down. But the Packers, leading 28-10, have come right back. 10 minutes,
This is
5
pretty
seconds
ugly,
to
I'm
go.
not gonna lie.
Fourth quarter. The National Football League's Packers representatives playing extremely well, executing, and leading. Star calling signals. Hands off to Taylor, who goes straight ahead, but not for much. Bobby Bell, who has played a good ball game today at his left side corner spot, made the tackle, along with Jerry Mays, the all-league left end. Little or no gain, perhaps a half a yard. We'll call it still. Second down and about 10. 28-10 the score. Max McGee has caught 2 touchdown passes. Elijah Pitts has run for 1 of 4 yards. Jim Taylor's run for 1 of 14 yards. And McClellan caught a touchdown pass for Kansas City of 7 yards. Star back, looking to throw, throwing out to the left, and has Carroll Dale at the 12-yard line.
Another
Knocked
play.
down there by Willie Mitchell.
Well-run route,
George Radaman.
and then bam.
An offense is working on one
Good
man
hit to
the
drop him,
defensive
but the
secondary.
damage is
Certainly seem to
done.
be picking on Mitchell. I don't say they seem to be. They are picking on Willie Mitchell all afternoon.
And Willie Mitchell,
Even when they're not
whatever
throwing the
he
ball, they've
is,
been running quite a few
he's
plays
getting
around that.
lit up
Keeping
all
pressure
over.
on him.
he's the guy in the
Continuously.
secondary they're
Parker
attacking.
is
And
almost
that
never
happens when you
complete
find a
passes.
weak point in the secondary.
I'm
You
gonna say
attack
Willie,
that guy.
over there, you might say,
No.
going either to the inside or the
You
outside.
can,
Third down and 3 from the 11-yard line.
Right.
Taylor is wide to the right. McGee is on the left side. Fleming is on the right side. Star hands to Pitts. Boy, he had an opening for a moment that looked like he was going to go all the way, but Johnny Robinson knocked him down at the 5. Forrest Gregg was leading the way, and Gregg was actually out, knocking down a man at the 10-yard line, and Pitts for the moment looked as though he had the angle of the corner. But Robinson, with great lateral speed, came from the middle of the line over to the outside of the left side and knocked him down at the 5. That's a first down at the 5, however, for the Packers. By the way, Robinson said if you want to be a good defensive back, tennis is a great sport. Art Starr is now 15 for 23. What an afternoon. First down 5, and straight ahead goes Jim Taylor for a couple of yards, perhaps down to the 3 or the 2.5. Bobby Hunt, the left side safety, made the tackle. We pause now 10 seconds for station identification.
WGY Schenectady, a General Electric Broadcasting Company station.
Ball is on the 2-yard line, second down. Pitts and Taylor, the setbacks. Star calling signals. Star still calling signals. Jim Taylor sweeping wide at the 5, at the 3, and with his effort gets down close to the goal line, but they'll mark it on about the 6-inch line. Johnny Robinson, who the last
score
time
here, it's
tackled
over,
Pitts
and
on the left
everybody in
side,
the
this
stadium
time makes the tackle of Taylor on the right
unless
side.
they get a turnover, this game's over.
Third down and a few inches. 28-10. Packers lead. Fourth quarter. Six minutes, 50 seconds to go. Fleming to the left side. Taylor and Pitts. As Green Bay has a strong right. Ball is given to Pitts. Pitts slides off and goes into the end zone, going off his own left side. Was hit at the line of scrimmage. Past Willie Mitchell and went into the end zone. And it is now 34-10. Green Bay has broken this first Super Bowl wide open. Don Chandler's come in. Rather better than 63,000, we understand. Chandler kicks, and the kick is good.
We all
It's
understand
time on
first.
the field to score now. Green Bay 35.
It just
Kansas
happened.
City 10. Gene Thomas and Bert
Lost him the
Goddard
first
did
ever
for Kansas
Super
City.
Bowl.
Pete Beathard has
It
been
was
warming
not a
up
very
on the
pretty
sideline.
game. First half was
63
great.
36 looking on as Don Chandler kicks
Yeah,
off again
Green Bay
for the
versus-
Packers.
Kansas
A
City.
high kick.
Oh,
Cohen and Wilson
Yeah.
both waited. It's going at the 1.
First half was
Straight up
great.
field, across the
Then
10.
Kansas
going to his
City
right.
fell apart.
Across the 15, out to the 20-yard line, and that's about all. Jim Grabowski jumps in to make the tackle, along with Tommy Crutcher, a linebacker, and Red Knock, a flanker, who makes his second tackle on the kickoff today. Kansas City trotting out with Pete Beathard of USC. An All-American here, now with Kansas City, making an appearance. It's his third year with Kansas City. The first, now they realize it, and the fan sets up for a hump. Beathard is a real scrambling quarterback, and with a flick of the wrist can throw it a mile. He sends Burford to the left, Taylor to the right. Long count by Beathard, who drops straight back. Looks, throws, has Burford across the 40 to the 42-yard line. Bob Jeter made the tackle there, but that's
Yeah,
not
ugly.
down for the
Wow,
Kansas City Chiefs.
35 to 10.
35 to 10, the Packers lead. Score at halftime was 14 to 10, with the Kansas City Chiefs having the better of it in all statistical departments except the scoreboard.
And again, should Beathard care to continue throwing that type of pattern, it should be open, because undoubtedly now Green Bay will lay off farther and farther on pass defense, giving up the short pass, making sure they don't get hit with the long one, though.
Beathard dropping straight back again, looking now decides to run across the 40, across the 45, gets a great block at the 45, down the sidelines and out of bounds with another first down at the 44-yard line.
They pulled Len Dawson. Interesting.
Willie Wood ran him out of bounds along with Bob Jeter, but Ray Nitschke had the boom lowered on him as he went to reach for the scrambling Pete Beathard. Ball is put down on the 44, 1st and 10, and Beathard very quickly has taken them to 2 first downs. Five minutes and 17 seconds to go. In a moment, George Rotterman will be heading for the dressing room. But before you go, George, after Beathard drops straight back, we want to ask you something. Beathard back, throws and overthrows Mike Garrett at the 40-yard line. George, very quickly, your observations on Kansas City and Green Bay.
Well, I think it was something that was predicted by a lot of people. Kansas City just was not able to stop the passing of Bart Starr, the passing offense of Green Bay this afternoon. Kansas City, I think, stopped the Green Bay running attack far better than anybody here in this stadium or watching this football game or listening to it anticipated. But Starr just picked them apart with his passing, seemed to be able to complete passes whenever he wanted to do so, and I think that's been the difference between these two ball clubs, his ability to complete passes whenever he wanted against the fact that Kansas City could not do so because of the fine defensive secondary of Green
What
Bay.
lost Kansas City?
Thank you, George Rotterman, as flags fly, as the Packers jump and the Kansas City team jumps, and it could be, of course, a legal procedure with the new quarterback Beathard in there, and that's exactly what it is.
Legal procedure is what
heads now for
they called
the
false
dressing room.
starts back then.
We should have a report at the end of the game. The ball is on the 49-yard line.
Was looking for
And so it'll be 2nd down and 15. Our spotters today for Green Bay, Ed Ludwig and Harry Sanford for Kansas City. We appreciate their work as this game is now going down into history. For those who will say, I told you so, the National League Packers are better. There are those who say that Kansas City, with the interception by Willie Wood, the ball that had been misspotted and is now 2 yards extra are given to the Kansas City Chiefs, put on the 49 the Green Bay Packers. There are those who say that the Chiefs just had a bad day. May we remind you that the Common Football Draft starts this year, and in 3 years, the National Football League and the American Football League will have completed its merger. So the question will become academic. But right now, the plaudits belong to the National Football League. Back goes Beathard, and down he goes. Bob Brown led the way, along with Lionel Aldridge. Brown, the rookie from Arkansas A&M, 6'5", 260, was in on Beathard and threw him for an 11-yard loss. Makes up 12
that is
inside
something
the 40
too that Green Bay did in this game. And so did Kansas City. I will give Kansas City credit. They really did pressure Bart Starr a lot. He just took a couple shots in the backfield. And there you go. But
Beathard, hand on hip, leaning into the huddle as he so often does. Now sends his Chiefs out of the huddle with Otis Taylor coming to the right. And Burford, who has had a good day, to the left. Burford and Taylor have had a good day. Back goes Beathard. On 3rd down. Long pass downfield.
intended downfield for Chris Burford, tapped away at the final moments at the 32-yard line, and that would have been enough for the first down. Bob Jeter broke it up, and the Chiefs will have to kick it away. Less than 5 minutes, 4:39 to play. 35-10, Green Bay leads. Donnie Anderson and go deep as Gerald Wilson is coming to handle the punting, stepping back inside his own 25-yard line. NBC Radio proud to bring you this AFL-NFL championship. We remind you the Bob Hope Desert Classic on NBC Radio, February 4th and 5th. Wilson boots the ball high and deep. Fair catch called for by Willie Wood at the 18-yard line, 1st and 10 Packers. The Packers this afternoon dressed in their green jerseys, gold pants, white numerals. Kansas City, which had not lost all year long, dressed in their white uniforms with red numerals. They now find themselves trailing by 25 points, 35-10. Haroldale goes out wide to the right. Anderson and Grabowski are now in the backfield for Kansas City, or rather for Green Bay. Paul Hornung has not made an appearance. Brikowski is the quarterback. Hands to Anderson around the left side, across the 25, still on his feet and hit from behind as he got to the 30-yard line, out to the 32-yard line. Anderson showing great speed, hit from the line by E.J. Holland. Gil Gillingham was leading the way, the right guard, as Vince Lombardi now has begun the substitute. Bob Long from Wichita is in. Carroll Dale is in, but the quarterback is Zeke Brikowski, an 11-year veteran from Georgia. Jim Grabowski, the rookie from Illinois, and Donnie Anderson, the rookie from Texas Tech, are both in. 1st and 10. Hand off through Grabowski, and Grabowski nearly lost the ball, had to turn around for it, and when he did, Buck Buchanan wrestled him down. The public address announcer said Grabowski has recovered Grabowski's fumble. The ball is down at the 32-yard line of Green Bay. They lead 35-10. Clock running, less than 4 minutes to go now. Bob Long goes out wide to the right. Zeke Brikowski calling signals. The late afternoon sun in Los Angeles. Donnie Anderson going to the right side. Gets away from Hedrick, but Hedrick reaches over and with one hand grabs him as Freddie Williamson has been leveled and is out lying on the turf at the 33-yard line because it is over. Freddie Williamson.
A big hit there on the line.
He may have been hit. In any event, he is down and time has been called, so there's time out on the field. The score, Green Bay 35, Kansas City 10. Jim Simpson, along with George Radaman and Freddie Williamson, is still out at the 33-yard line, and they're working over him there. Could have been that the knee of Donnie Anderson hit him in the helmet. 35-10 is the score.
Hate to see late game injuries in a game that's already been decided. It always sucks to see that.
Pass it was 7
It's always
seconds.
unfortunate.
The Packers came right back. Jim Taylor going over his own left side and then cutting to the outside and running 14 yards for a score to make it 14-7. But again, the Kansas City Chiefs came back, and on a 31-yard field goal with less than a minute to go in the first half by Mike Mercer, closed the gap to 14-10. And that's the way they went to the dressing room. And to repeat, Kansas City had slightly the better in the statistics, even though Green Bay was leading by 4 points. But in the third quarter, in the early moments, Lenny Dawson went back, was trapped, and hung the ball up, throwing it out to his left. Willie Wood cut in front of the receiver, picked it off, and ran all the way to the floor where Mike Garrett nailed it. On the first play, Elijah Pitts went off the left side for 4 yards and the score to make it 21-10. Well, then the Packers were really rolling, and on the 13-yard pass play, again McGee scored to make it 28-10 in the third quarter. And here in the fourth quarter, Elijah Pitts scoring over from about, half a foot out, made it 35-10, and of course, it has been Don Chandler who has converted after each of the touchdowns. Now a moment of concern as Hank Stram has come out and gone back. Freddie Williamson is still out on the 33-yard line after that play that saw Donnie Anderson sweep to the right.
Hedrick get an arm on him, and I believe they're going to bring out the stretcher for Freddie Williamson,
Dang.
the
there's
7-year
no
veteran from
stretcher.
Northwestern, 6'3", 209, 28 years old. They have the stretcher out now, and he will be taken from the field. 35-10, and now down in front of us, and he's being asked to leave. A young boy had run across the field, run up to Paul Horning, and asked for an autograph, and someone politely asked him to leave. Fred Williamson is being carried off the field by a stretcher. If we can, we'll have a report for you before we leave the air on how he is. We'll certainly try to get it. We do know that Boyd Dowler injured his shoulder and is out for the game. That happened in the first period. Bob Long goes out wide to the right. Carroll Dale comes to the left. It is 3rd down and 8. Emmett Thomas has replaced Williamson. Rutkowski back and throwing deep for Carroll Dale. And does not overthrow him, but rather throws more toward the middle of the field. And Dale was out to the left. Willie Mitchell was back along with Johnny Robinson defending. And so now it'll be 4th down and 8. Well, the city of Los Angeles and those concerned with the Super Bowl game, the AFL-NFL Championship, have put on quite a display. There have been bands from all over the country, a solo performance at halftime by Al Hirt, and we have been privileged to have in our broadcast booth before the game Bob Hope, and at halftime Lance Allworth of the San Diego Chargers, Don Meredith of the Dallas Cowboys. Quite an afternoon and quite a day for the Green Bay Packers. Anderson handled the punting this time as a left-footed kicker. It goes by Emmett Thomas at the 25 and will roll dead at about the 22-yard line, where the Kansas City Chiefs will take over 1st and 10. Checking that clock, 2 minutes and 22 seconds to go as Hank Stram is walking the sidelines by himself, near a few players, realizing it has been quite an afternoon for the Green Bay Packers, not his own Kansas City Chiefs. But then again, this is the first Super Bowl. There will be a chance for two teams, whether they be the Packers or Chiefs remains to be seen, but again, 1 year from now. Pete Beathard in, has only one setback, rolls to his right, going for broke, throwing deep to Otis Taylor. Taylor cannot catch up to the ball. He and Herb Adderley collided at the 33. Adderley fell down. Taylor kept his feet.
I love how they're they're still fighting to the end. I do like that about this game as the Chiefs
Otis Taylor might have caught it.
fought to the
Beathard
end.
threw it well, but the collision between Adderley and Otis Taylor meant that Otis was slowed up quite a bit and he could not reach the ball. 2nd down and 10. Less than 2 minutes to go by a couple of seconds. The officials, and there's 6 of them here today, 3 from each league plus 6 alternates, go to each sideline and say less than 2 minutes to go. A crowd of 63,036 in perfect football weather have watched this, the first AFL-NFL championship game. Report from the bench. Freddie Williamson, the cornerback from Northwestern, who was carried from the field, is not believed to have been hurt seriously, which is certainly good news. Beathard brings his team out of the huddle. Otis Taylor comes to the right. Chris Burford goes to the left. Mike Garrett and Curtis McClendon the setbacks. Beathard dropping straight back this time. In a pressure pocket and ducks his head, and his own momentum carries him down to the ground at the 15-yard line. Beathard ducked under
Again, the
tackle,
pressure.
his legs
Just
went from under him, and he could not get up to start running or at least throw again. Jim Weatherax, a defensive tackle, a rookie from Los Angeles State, by the way, was the man who was pressuring Pete Beathard. So it is 3rd down and 16 with a minute and a half to go. 35-10. The Packers lead. They have led all the way. They've been tied once, 7-7. Beathard taking a long time in the huddle. The Coliseum here gaily decorated with an NFL, AFL golden crown at midfield. Each of the end zones done in gold with the Chiefs letters at one end in red and the Packers in the other in green. Pete Beathard drops back. Throws long and way overthrows and almost overthrows the entire Kansas City bench. But Chris Burford was the intended receiver.
Good Lord.
Walked down and
It's just a
16,
comedy of
24
errors.
seconds to go.
Just a disaster, really, the second half of this game.
In a few moments, once this game is over, we will be going down to the dressing room, and you will hear the words of the Green Bay Packers. As Pat Summerall and George Radaman will be there to talk with him. And I'm sure it'll be quite a victory ceremony. And I'm sure that each team, including the Packers for the Chiefs, has added respect for one another. Gerald Wilson standing at the goal line. Kicks the ball away. A driving kick, sending Donnie Anderson and Willie Wood back. It is Wood who takes it at the 31. Coming to the left side, pursued one block, takes down two men. But Bobby Ply, number 14, who is very quick to get down under any kick, makes the tackle at the 27-yard line. A minute and 12 seconds to go. Flag down on the play, and apparently this will be stepped off against the Green Bay Packers. 1:12 to go. As the officials now step it off. Clipping. And as George Radaman told you, one of Vince Lombardi's edicts and axioms is that unless you're absolutely sure, do not try to block the man and be charged with a clip. But this is the second time in this half, and this time it might be because the Green Bay Packers are going with a great many of their reserves. Those boys are a little bit over-anxious to do well in this game. Witkowski is in. Call signals from the 13-yard line. Handoff to his fullback, Jim Grabowski, a bonus rookie from Illinois, but Buck Buchanan wrestles him down at the 15-yard line after a gain of 2. It'll be second down and 8. 1 minute to go in the first AFL-NFL championship, the Super Bowl. Packers 35 and the Kansas City Chiefs 10. Before George Radaman left for the dressing rooms, it was his observation that the Kansas City Chiefs simply could not stop the passing of Bart Starr, who had quite a day.
Yeah, that's the thing. Bart Starr just
Jim Taylor had a great day running, too. Donnie Anderson hit behind the line of scrimmage, gets away from one man, goes around that side, across the 20, out to the 25, before Jerry Mays, the defensive left end, knocked him out of bounds at the 26. Forrest Gregg was leading the way, and of course that stops the clock. With 29 seconds to go. One more reminder about the Bob Hope Desert Classic on NBC Radio on February the 4th and 5th. Now Red Mack, who has seen action with several National Football League teams, a former All-American at Notre Dame, number 27, comes in, and he replaces Bob Long as the flanker back. And Red immediately went to the wrong side, and now has been told to come over to the left side, which he does. He split to the left. Witkowski hands to Anderson. Anderson trying to find running room, gets across the line of scrimmage to 25, and E.J. Holland tackles him from behind. The clock is running with 20 seconds to go. The Packers out in front by 25 points, and this is the first Super Bowl. 10 seconds to go. The Packers standing around, not willing to get off another play necessarily. The Kansas City Chiefs are willing to walk to the sideline, and the Kansas City Chiefs, many of them, are walking toward the Green Bay Packers. Gerald Hedrick shaking the hand of Bart Starr. All of them have come over and are talking to the Packers. That's the end of the game with the final score. Green Bay 35 and Kansas City 10. We'll be back in a moment for the final wrap-up of today's game. Jim Simpson, along with George Radaman, back at the Coliseum in Los Angeles. And don't go away
Overall,
yet. We expect to be able to go to the Green Bay Packers dressing room in a few moments.
Rough day for the Chiefs, but eventually the AFL gets their revenge. And the last time when it's not the AFC, NFC, it's the AFL. So I know that Super Bowl 3 is when they get their revenge. So. All right, guys, that'll do it for this stream. Next one will be Super Bowl 2. Hope to see you there.
It meant the National Football League for the first time putting its prestige